Good morning, everybody. It's Cassandra and Paula with All In 2025. And today we're going to talk about confidence and what happens when you have those days that you feel like you kind of lost it, or you're tired, or you feel like maybe you've lost your mojo a little bit, and you're why? Why am I doing this? Why am I grinding through? And we all have it. Before I got on the call with Paula, I was processing some losses this week, personal losses that were really hard. And yet I still have all these things that I have to show up for, and that's not always easy. Um, and so one of the things I said to Paula when we first got on the call today was that life is going to happen. Like, it's happening. Life is lifing, as she had said in another episode that we have done. And it's not always easy. And being an entrepreneur, especially when life is lifing and you have to get your own mojo, you have to get up, and be able to show up for your business. It's not like you can really call in sick. I mean, you can, but we all know what that does when you're an entrepreneur, right? So it's so easy to get bogged down in so many of those things and lose our confidence, lose our motivation, lose our reasons for why we're doing what we're doing in the first place. And to be very transparent, sometimes we end up focusing so much on money and the need for money and the sales and the things and the getting the clients that we aren't having joy anymore. And so my big thing today is, like, we have to get our joy back in business. I really believe that. I think sometimes we feel like we have to do so many things and all the things that are on the list, and we don't ever stop. Especially after some of the personal losses I've had in the last week, it just makes you remember that, am I having fun anymore? Is this fun for me? I should be having fun at the same time as I'm obviously doing the work of my business, but we can't forget about the joy part. And that's something we got to ask ourselves every day. Am I still finding joy? What do you think, Paula?
Yeah, I think spot on. I think, as you're saying, yep, my three words are I want joy, peace, and happiness. And sometimes it is hard to find the joy in what you're doing or what's going on because of things that are happening. It's kind of interesting the timeliness of this conversation. I just did a workshop on loss and how we handle failure and mistakes and all the things. And it's living my own words. It's a choice in how you show up. It's a choice in finding the joy, and it doesn't mean that what has happened, the loss, the failure, whatever, you can feel the feels, right? We talked about it, before, but also recognizing you still have a choice to show up. You have a choice to figure out how to find the joy, and it doesn't mean it's easy, but there's a choice to it. And I think sometimes we do have to remind ourselves that at the end of the day, we all deserve joy, a little bit of fun, no matter what we're doing. And if you're not having that, kind of check yourself, figure out what it is that you have to unpack or what it is you have to do differently, what you need to focus on. And again, I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm no different than anybody else. It can be hard, but it still is a choice. And, one of the things that I think I've said before, I said in my workshop yesterday is feel what you need to feel. Um, and you can even admire in that for a little bit, but not long. But get back to the joy, figure out what it is that you really should be focused on and have fun. There's so many things that are happening that I think that surround all of us, and especially when it's personal losses. And it doesn't mean you still can't find a joy. You can't find the reason to smile, a reason to just take in the sun, as I always say. I love taking in the sun. Um, but you can find it. And so when it's hard, yeah, it's hard. It is. But you still can find some joy in focusing on the right things and whatever the right thing is for you. It can be very different from what mine is, right? But there is such power in that. And I will continue to say, I am not saying it's easy. I think sometimes people hear some things and like, oh, they make it sound so easy. No, it's not. It actually isn't. But what I do know is a choice. It is a choice. And we can choose to sit in it forever, or we can choose to say, okay, I felt what I felt, but let me go find me some joy. Let me find me some joy.
So we're gonna make it a shorty today, but I'm just gonna say this before we wrap up is look for things that excite you. Look for things that bring you that joy. Sort of build self-awareness around what are the things that when I'm doing them, I'm just really happy, or I'm really in my zone, or I just really feel like myself. And lean into that. Business is hard, but it's also a lot of fun, and it can be incredibly creative, and you can change lives and you can do wonderful things. So for this week, our ask of you is the same ask of ourselves. Go back out and find the joy and the exciting and the excitement that you have in your business. Find that for yourself again, because it will help bring back some of that motivation and help balance the stuff that's the hard stuff that you do isn't so hard when you have this other piece over here that's driving you, that brings you that peace and joy and happiness, as Paula said. So joy is the day. Joy is the word of the day.
Joy is the word of the day. Go out and find some joy, you all, right now.
All right. Bye bye.